All right. We ready?
I am as ready as I can be.
I think it's funny we start off most podcasts and we start up most interviews and videos with when me and you and Mom are together laughing or something there. And here we go again. So with that being said, welcome to the Hope Now Momentum podcast. So I'll start this brand new recording or podcast video for tonight or today the same way I started last season. Good morning, good afternoon, or good day, depending on when you have the opportunity to watch or listen to this. Welcome to Hope Now's Momentum podcast. My name is Pastor Scott Harper, and I get to be your host today. I have an amazing guest with me. It is my wife, Pastor Sarah Harper, who is the principal of the Overcomers Academy, my right hand, and my better half. And so I'm really excellent and glad that you're here.
Hi, everyone. That was a very biased introduction, I have to say.
If it wasn't, I mean, somebody would be questioning me.
All of us.
So yeah, everybody would be like, I didn't even have Murph behind the camera going, huh?
It would be out of character, yes.
And so this is a new season of Momentum. We're really excited about some of the upcoming videos on the Hope Now podcast. Pastor Donna is going to be talking on hers on I forgot the name of her podcast. So how sad is that? This is twice. What's the T? And we're hey, this is the real life. We don't edit anything. Here we go. We've got other videos coming up on the Hope Now podcast as well from Pastor Adrian, Pastor John. There's one in this Mysterious Tea. Thank you. She's going to hear this and go, Scott, you shouldn't. I'm like, I know. And, we just talked about overcoming fear, guilt, and shame in the walkout workshop this past week. And so it's like, okay, here we go.
It's a good walkout.
I'm overcoming, making mistakes. But it's a new season, and I'm excited about being back up in this studio. I'm excited to have momentum coming up. I'll go ahead and tag really quick some upcoming events. We just did a video for the marriage retreat, which I'm excited about.
Yes.
It's the first one we'll be doing since Pastor Henry passed away. When me and Murph were talking earlier before we start rolling, it's exciting, but it's also a little heart-wrenching to be doing this. It's a bittersweet thing. But Pastor Donna is going to be joining us. We're going to do some Q&A with the other elders. So you can hear a good mixture of different viewpoints and stuff like that. But I know the conversations me, you, and Mom have had behind the scenes. And I'm not sharing those here.
Don't want to miss
but you're not going to want to. You're not going to miss it. Okay, moving right along. That date is going to be October 13th through the 17th.
Mm-hmm.
There's still registration time. We still got room. We've got a date night scheduled. We've got dinner scheduled. We'll do dinner Q&As.
We're doing later morning starts.
Oh, it's a marriage retreat, married couples retreat. It's
Yes.
for husbands and wives to come together and enjoy a little time away from family and kids and distractions. And so, yes, we're not starting the morning sessions until like 10 o'clock. So you got morning snuggle time, because I read somewhere, I read it on the internet, it must be true, that an extra 15 minutes of snuggle in the morning will completely make your day a lot more peaceful, and it creates endorphins, and it creates hormone changes. Well, creates hormone changes that changes things to where you have a little bit better of a day.
All right. As long as it doesn't make you 15 minutes late.
That's why we're not starting till 10 o'clock. Just it's that. So October 13th to the 17th.
This is going to be fun.
We'll have to do a podcast at the end of the marriage retreat. We just may have to put an age limit on that.
Censor it?
Censor?
I don't know.
Parental advisory.
The flashing.
Warning. October 13th through 17th.
Yes.
Registration links, we'll put it in the description. We'll also probably hit that lower third, so you can write it up, check it out. We still got time to register. Let me jump over. Murph sent me a couple dates to remember earlier, so I'm gonna hop over there really quick. Momentum is a month out. We are right there at September 26th, 27th for the Momentum Men's Podcast. Momentum Men's Meeting, Men's Conference. You're with me. It's a distraction. And this
I
is
can walk
be...
away and you can do all your dates and things.
I remembered, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to do this very carefully so I don't get myself in trouble. You distract me in such a wonderful way. And when we did the Montel Jordan podcast, I geeked out because of him, because he's a cool guy. I mean, we actually chatted earlier today. And so it's really cool to be able to have that conversation, but you're my wife and we're
That's
on
why
camera.
we're sitting
I'm trying to,
whole table.
Murph was like, why are you so far away? It's necessary.
So he can stay on target.
Okay. Back on target. Momentum Men's Conference, September 26th, 27th. You do not want to miss it. We've got a Roman coat of armor coming in.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay, I might be geeking out, and I'm not a man, obviously. And so
obviously,
we got to go see the coat of arms that they are going to be using for the men's conference. It is
there's an Italian restaurant in Sonoya. So I'm going to plug Borgo Italia right here, right now. I'm going to plug away. Go check them out. They've got a authentic coat of arms, a Roman coat of arms, sitting up there on their balcony, and we came in about a month or so ago. Maybe a little bit more, a month and a half, 2 months ago.
God-ordained moment, too.
You and I walked in there on a weird, like a Sunday afternoon after church. We went for a walk, kind of went to a restaurant and walked in. And I was sitting there and he came to ask us if we were, what we wanted for water or Coke or whatever. And I was staring up on their upper balcony and I was like, is that a coat of arms? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. He goes, do you want to see it? And I'm like,
my goodness, you thought he geeked out on the other podcasts. He left me sitting at the table. I was like, I'm good. But he's just up there geeking out about this coat of arms. And there's a shield, their family shield. So when we talked to him, it was earlier this week, asking about it. We're like, how old is it? And he's like, oh, it's not very old, just a couple 100 years old. So that's going to be there too.
And he's loaning it to us for the men's conference because our thing is sword and shield. And so I'm bringing my swords. And in the Roman coat of arms, there is an authentic Roman sword in there. So, I mean, we've got a Roman shield, we've got a Roman sword, we got the coat of arms because we're talking the armor of God. We're talking about sword and shield. And it was like, the heavens opened and God said, "Oh," and he with an Italian accent for a moment because we were in an Italian restaurant and he just said, "Here's where you're going to get it," and it
like
just
authentic
worked out
Italian,
authentic.
Like their whole staff.
So here's your plug, Borgo Italia in Sonoya. When you come here for a For My Life retreat, walkout workshop, marriage conference, whatever, go eat dinner there. Tell them you're from us. It's awesome. All right, next date. We're moving on.
Yes,
because I'm got to stay on target. We got a couple conferences coming up. I just want to give you quick dates. Nashville, Tennessee, actually just outside of that in Franklin, Tennessee, September 12th and 13th. We are less than a month out for that. Wichita, Kansas. Question came up. Mm-hmm. Me and Murph were asking this question. Have we ever done a conference in Wichita, Kansas before?
I don't know. I don't think so. Topeka sounds like something maybe we might have done before, but I don't think Wichita.
Now, the night we were driving between Texas, because we were leaving Beaumont, Texas, into Dallas.
Nothing against people from Beaumont, Texas.
No, but I don't know why I always say Beaumont, Texas.
I don't know.
Beaumont, Texas, into Dallas. When we left Dallas, we were going up to Denver, Colorado. Is when that tornado came through. We pulled RVs over in Wichita, Kansas.
Yeah,
that's the only time I remember us being in which, and we did a lot of praying that night.
Yes, we did.
A lot
I'm
praying.
Very excited. We've got a lot of people in Wichita. We've got Acts Church in Wichita. So I am, just right outside in Key Chai. I have to make sure I have it correct.
I can't say it right.
It was drilled into me from our wonderful people.
Doug, did we say it correctly?
I know we did because he told me how to say it. Key Chai.
Okay.
Key Chai, Kansas. So I'm very excited about that. It gets all of the surrounding areas too.
It gets everything from Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Kansas City, all that area. I'm hoping some people from Arkansas make their way over as well. So that dates are October 3rd and 4th, Wichita, Kansas. And then we're going back to Richmond, Virginia, November 7th and 8th. It is.
Wow.
I almost made it a bobo. So we laugh in our household because we live in Georgia. I may not have been born and raised in Georgia, but I was raised a Georgian in LA. And I'm a Georgia Bulldog fan.
Yes.
You are not.
I am not. No.
You are a
Florida chomp.
Gator fan.
Shout out to all my Florida people.
So we joke that we have a marital discussion once a year.
Yeah, we do.
It's November 1st.
This year, yeah.
This year, it's the Georgia-Florida game. Well, for the longest time, I thought the Virginia conference
it's not.
was
it's the
on
next
that
weekend.
weekend.
Yeah.
And so we've had conferences before
So
on that
we
day.
can have our once a year marital, and then when Florida wins, then we'll the next week go to.
We ain't starting this. I'm making some phone calls. We're going to have a conversation.
Well, the marriage conference is before then, too.
It is. So we're going to do really good. We're going to get all healed up. We're going to get prepped and ready for one Saturday.
Honestly, I don't care that much about football, but it's really fun to fight with him about something really silly.
And it's funny. That's the only time really our house kind of
splits
pick
a little
sides.
bit, yeah.
Half the household will dress in Georgia Bulldog colors, which are red and black. The other half dresses in whatever colors those are.
Oh, please. Orange and blue. You know this. And we yell and we woohoos.
So the following week after
and then we
that,
go to church the next day.
We'll go to church the next day and we'll have some repentance.
Maybe the altar calls.
Altar call. We'll have a great time. But back to where I was, Richmond, Virginia, November 7th and 8th. Make sure you register. We got plenty of time for that. There's going to be a Q&A luncheon for all of those.
Those
and
are
I think some of the best revelations and even some of the coolest ministry has come out of a Q&A luncheon.
And yeah, the things the aha moments that happen even for us that we're just like, wow, God, definitely during the Q&A luncheons.
Mm-hmm. So, shifting gears a little bit, you want to talk about what we just finished up over the summer? Do a really quick recap of the summer retreats?
Wow.
Because I have numbers.
I'm excited about these numbers. I just want to say, wow. Scott and I have the opportunity to direct the youth. I know from what I heard about the children's retreat was phenomenal and the adults retreat was phenomenal, but I'm going to plug the youth. It was amazing. We didn't have enough space here. Go ahead and plug
2023. We did the youth conference in one of your schoolrooms.
We did, and we were full.
And we capped out at 26.
Yeah, it was almost
26,
almost
27.
30, yeah.
Last year, 2024,
not enough space.
we rented a tent.
With AC.
With a big old giant AC unit
It was,
out in the
one of those
tent
big wedding
in
tents.
Georgia. Oh. You want to hear the numbers for what we did in 2024? How many people came through in 24 before we jumped to 25?
Sure.
Well, where were you going to go first?
Well, I was going to say that we outgrew said tent and we had to invade the local firehouse, their great room or their, I don't know what it's called, their day room or their community room. And so it's open to the community to use as well. And so we were able to use that room because we didn't have space in the tent anymore because of the phenomenal numbers. So I'm really, really excited. I haven't got to hear these numbers yet.
No one has, because I had Doug email them to me this morning and I wasn't sharing. So total summer 2024, we were able to serve 247 adults, 85 youth.
Wow.
That was all 3 summer programs in 24 and 88 kids. Well done, Murph and Jessica. Last year with the summers, really cool, by the way. This year, 2025, plus we did the Family 101 conference this year in July. So
awesome too.
You ready for these numbers? So just in comparison, 24, we did 247 adults.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to minister, to share, and serve 247 adults in 2024. 2025, the adults were 263. So just a few more. I mean, we didn't see much change in the adults. I'll say kids next, just because Mert's behind the camera. So kids, again, 2024, we were able to serve and teach and minister to 88 kids. Right. That's ages 5 through 6 through 12, right? So this year in 25, we were at 87.
Okay.
So somehow we dropped
one kid.
Probably in the midst of all of that.
A bunch of them went to youth.
I believe so. Youth, 2024, 85.
I know we did more than that because we had like 60 in one program.
July was 60.
Yeah. Okay. I'm curious. How many?
115.
Wow.
For the whole summer.
Wow.
There was a
no wonder we were so tired.
There was a 22% increase.
Wow.
From 2024 to 2025.
That's a lot of youth. Those are our next leaders in our.
That's our next pastors, our next leaders, our next senators, our next teachers dads and moms and teachers. This is the next generation that God is allowing us to serve through For My Life and the family retreats. Now, we did a family 101. It was our first ever family 101 conference. First time we had ever tried something like this before.
God showed up and showed out for that.
You wonder how many families were represented that day?
Do tell, Pastor Scott.
65.
Wow. Okay, that's just families. So that's
just
a lot of
families.
people.
It's not kids because you guys organized childcare.
Yeah, it was. Mm-hmm. Oh no, it was great. We had a great group that did the childcare. They actually got to learn a lot of the insights that we were learning but on their level. It was amazing. Shout out to all my people that made that happen. I just organized. I didn't do that work.
So I'm going to share something that's not public yet. We just finalized it within the last 48 hours. So true spoiler alert. Next year, 3 family weeks.
All right.
3 family 101s.
That's exciting.
So at the end of each For My Life retreat, there'll be a family 101 event on that Saturday.
That's super exciting.
So to be able to see and have the opportunity to reach more people. Jen did the birthday video, my birthday video
that was funny.
On that Sunday service
Ephesus.
And everything. Thanks, Ephesus. If y'all haven't seen that, just track down. It's there. You'll want to check it out. Have a good laugh with me. I love it. I'm good with that. But the question she asked in that first video, it was a little TikTok that we start off and said, just babysit my boss for a few minutes. Someone asked me one time, why did I get into law enforcement and why do I still do what I do? The answer is still the same. I want to change the world. And for Dad to invite me into being on staff here, for God to be able to call me to be here, we do get that opportunity to truly change the world. Yeah. What we do here and how we touch people and how we are able to be used by God to influence and to be able to share the word and share from our wisdom and experience, the impartation of not just knowledge, but our heart to people, and see that change in people's lives that changes us. I don't know if it changes us more or the same, but I'm changed every single summer retreat because of what we get to do, and every For My Life and walkout workshop and every other event and marriage conference and traveling conference, all of that, that's what we get to do. And I think we work at the greatest place on earth.
I would agree.
We got the greatest school, which we'll get to there in just a second. And I've got the greatest job in the world. And we get to do this. It's not I have to go to work. I have to go to church. We get to come to work. We get to serve. We get to share our lives. That is, it's a blessing all to itself.
I would agree wholeheartedly.
And so you get to be principal.
I get to be it. Yes, I do.
And so part of the reason I asked you kind of to hang out with me today, and we'll figure out where we go with this, but I have a couple things. We just started a brand new school year. I think you finished your last full week last week.
It was a half week last week. We start on Wednesday.
Oh, wow.
So this is our first full week of academics. We hit the ground running on Monday with our academics.
So can you give me, for those that may not understand, maybe you're brand new to Be in Health, maybe you're brand new to the Hope Now podcast, maybe you're brand new to Momentum, however you connect up and are touching us here on the podcast, explain a little bit about what Overcomers Academy is and give me a little bit about the vision and mission.
How much time do we have?
Mission and vision. We got all the time in the world.
I could talk about the school for days.
Well, I do have other questions. So if you can give me a little bit of the vision and mission, then I'm going to ask you a little history. So
you're asking a pastor and a teacher and a principal to keep it condensed?
Start the countdown, Murph. I'm not really condensed. I mean, we can, that's the joy about a podcast. We can go as long as we need it to be.
Yep. Pop some popcorn, y'all. No. Well, I think we probably should start.
In the South, that would be fried okra, by the way. Fried okra is the popcorn of the South, I was told.
Who told you that? Like
a Southerner. Useless knowledge. I like fried okra.
I mean, I like it, but I wouldn't eat it like popcorn. Like, never mind. But I really like popcorn, so,
I really like fried okra. Okay, back on. See, this is going to be fun. Overcomers Academy. What is it? Vision, mission, what's the heart of it?
All right, what is it? What is it? Well, I mean, I'm going to pretend that you guys know nothing about the Overcomers Academy that way, that if there's a new insight you have, great. Honestly, it started, we actually have been in operation. This is our 11th year now, which is hard to believe. It's been quite a journey. And at the same time, I feel like we've been doing this forever. And then we started yesterday. So it's pretty phenomenal. I really do absolutely love what I do. So we started back in 2014 because we needed a place for our children to go to school. We had different smatterings of places that the kids went to school. Some were homeschooled, some were private schooled, some were public schooled. And we just knew we wanted a place with like-minded people, that we could have a safe place for our students to go. So, because of the different range of age groups that we had to just, some people were like, well, we started with kindergarten and first grade and moved into that. I mean, we had preschoolers through high schoolers at that
12th
time,
grade that year.
That needed a place. So we worked pretty hard to get that going right away.
If I'm not mistaken, we started talking about it in February or March of 2014. Mm-hmm. And we started launched in August.
Yeah, which is unheard of. It was a God thing. I mean, God does so many things to our school. Oh, it's amazing. His timetable is what his timetable is, and the world's timetable doesn't compute when it comes to those things. So we started in 2014. We started out with 35 students, I think. A couple teachers. We did different curriculums so that we could, grow into where we are now. Fast forward into where we are now. We have preschool through 12th grade still. We have 10 employees with our school.
How many students do we have this year?
We have 46. Some are still in.
Are you counting it?
I was kind of counting. I had the report on my desk just the other day. Oh my gosh, I think it was day before. I was working through some things. We still have some students that are trying to come this school year. So I'm like trying to remember the actual enrollment. It's 45, 46.
Yeah, because I talked to one of those families yesterday and I was like, so when are you moving here? And they're like, I need a couple more days to figure this out because they are packing up and moving.
No pressure.
No pressure, guys, in Florida, by the way. Just telling you.
So we've got quite a few students now. Mission and vision. Honestly, we have it written and I don't have it memorized because it's in my heart. You know how scripture kind of like that?
Yeah.
It's just like, it says somewhere that, God loved us so much that he gave his only son. I know that's John 3:16. But honestly, our mission as educators is to educate the best we can with the best academics that we can. But that's secondary to what the spiritual aspect is why we're Overcomers Academy, is we can utilize God's word, be in health principles. All of our staff have to go through the For My Life program every 3 years to kind of stay up to date on whatever these things are. I think half, oh man, maybe more than half of my staff, my staff, the Overcomers Academy staff, volunteered in either the children's, the youth, or the adults programs this year too. I'm thinking maybe even more than half. I might have been at like 90%. I don't know. I don't have those numbers right on my head, but so
I'm thinking yes, about 90%.
I actually can't think of anyone that didn't.
I can only think of one person who didn't help with the kids at some point.
Right. I'm thinking
Wow.
we might be at 100%, honestly.
That
because
is
of
cool.
Teaching, volunteering, wow. Well done, Overcomers Academy staff. And that wasn't because it was mandated. It was just that that's their heart to serve. So we know the phrases that were used in the children's retreat and in the youth retreat. And so it carries on into our scholastics too. So, and I tell our teachers when we have our professional development, our professional development has things that are academic, but at the same time, it's now we need to spiritually reach these kids. Though if we have test anxiety, that we know what's behind it. If a kid's going, my tummy hurts, are you in fear about this test? That yes, I am. And we can deal with it. 5 minutes to deal with a whole room of something going on spiritually is not time lost. In fact, it's time gained, because now we don't have to overcome all of those things later when it comes to the time for that.
It also undergirds the Bible teachings.
It absolutely
and the biblical
does.
curriculum that you're basically creating from both church services, Be in Health, the Bible itself, from our own experiences.
Yes.
It just undergirds that as you move forward.
It does. And every single aspect of our academics has a biblical integration of some sort or another. So even math does. Science especially. Wow. Science is amazing. History, writing, our creative writing, all of those things have Spanish. Oh, our Spanish is amazing. So all of those things.
So I'm guessing everything's amazing.
Everything's amazing. Everything is awesome.
And so I was the principal before you. Pastor John started it out with you and him. I became principal. I worked there as principal for 7 years and some change before my seat changed to be what I'm doing now for the church and the ministry.
Yeah.
Walk me through a week, because I know, and I say week, and
my phone is crazy going off because it's our first week of school.
I'm prefacing this a little bit. If you can talk a little bit about how assemblies work, because you could do an assembly every single day.
I have to start on Sunday then. Actually, I have to start on Friday. Yeah.
Start on how that works. The journals, the assembly. I would love for you to talk about enriched academics.
Academic enrichment?
I had it backwards on my notes. Academic enrichment.
Yes.
What that looks like and what that actually means.
Okay. Buckle up. Here we go.
Okay.
A day in the life of an Overcomers Academy student.
Is this like a 5-point harness, like roller coaster that we need to think to click, 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 or?
Yeah, no, it's not quite that. We might do loop-de-loops. We could possibly, you never know. So it actually, when I said we start really Friday, is because the integral part of our Bible academics is we start on our church services. So when our journals are due, we have a date range for our journals. So we teach our students, we have a biblical curriculum that we use, and then we teach our students how to journal as well. And not like, I'm not talking about like esoteric journaling where I'm talking about like the actual skill of keeping a journal.
So they're taking notes in their journal off the service.
Yes. So we start on Fridays. Now there's not as much we can do on Fridays journal wise because it's prayer and praise. So if there's a song or something that impacts them, if there's a scripture that's shared, if there's testimonies that really, really impact them, especially after a For My Life retreat, the testimonies that come, honestly, I can't even say that because the testimonies that come even without For My Life retreats have been just amazing too. Everything's amazing. So they keep their journals for their Friday church service. On Sunday, they have to take notes on what is shared in the service, not just from the pulpit, but then with worship, with the open mic, with all of those things. Then come Monday, we have assembly first thing in the morning. So they go to their classes. Then we have assembly that starts. And our assembly starts out with, we do a verse that is, we have the students memorize said verse, and it could be one verse or it could be 1 to 5, depending on how long the verses are, that they have to memorize it because it really needs to be here too. But how many of us have memory verses that we can spout out, but you really have to stop and think about what it is? So part of that too is then they have to dive down into the meaning of it. And it's staggered according to age group. I don't have my kindergartners doing the same caliber of meaning as, say, the 12th graders, but they still have to start working on it. So the meaning has to come out. We utilize the Strong Concordance once they hit about 5th grade. We introduce it earlier on, but it's required in the 5th grade. So 5th grade and up, they start using the Strong's Concordance to kind of dive down into the different words and their meanings, what it means in Hebrew or Greek, depending on if we're in Old Testament or New Testament. And but it's not the most important. So there's 3 components: memory, meaning, and then practical application. It doesn't do any good to it. It doesn't. Not that it doesn't do any good. It doesn't do a lot of good to have it only here, that you can spout out a verse and then you can tell me what it means in the Strongs. But if you don't know how to practically apply it in your life,
what good did it really do you?
What good did it do? So those are the 3 aspects that they then put in their journal, which is then graded weekly. So that portion of our biblical curriculum, and our assemblies go every single day. So we have Monday assembly, Tuesday assembly. We do not have Wednesday assembly because it's our academic enrichment day. And then Thursday is usually handled by a teacher that wants to share something in the theme of what we've been doing. So our staff does our Thursdays.
Sweet.
And then Friday, we have them in our classrooms where they can then go over, they can do their memory with their teacher. And then they also have a discussion time about the whole week's worth of journals, the verse, what we've discussed in our assembly time. Sometimes during our assembly, which this is like our first week of school, but past years, we also about once a month have a time where the students can share their insights from their journals publicly with the rest of the school. So they come to the front, they share a snippet of it. Sometimes it's one-liners that really stuck out to them. Sometimes it's really in-depth thinking. It's funny because us teachers were talking about this just last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. I don't know. Times can be kind of weird sometimes. The other day. It was sometime between last year and this year. That our 2nd through 4th grade students have some of the most in-depth things from their journals.
That's Miss Jordan's classroom.
That is Miss Jordan's classroom. She is phenomenal at just drawing out them to think creatively and things like that. So yeah, some of those things, they hit us with some of these whammies of scripture, and I'm like, what? Oh, that reminds me that I also have them find correlating scriptures throughout.
Oh, sweet.
So whatever their verse is this week, like this week, where the whole year we're going to talk about prayer.
Mhm.
So, of course, we started out with the Lord's Prayer this week and what Jesus was telling us that prayer should be. It's kind of interesting. I implore you to look above and below, both in Matthew and in Luke, what
Mhm.
he says about what prayer should be and what it should not be. I got to share with the students. I'm not going to give you go look into that. That's your homework for today.
Oh, joy. Homework.
But and so I also encourage them to find correlating scriptures throughout
Mhm.
Old Testament, New Testament. It's fun to see what's said in the New that's also said in the Old, and vice versa. And so when they do that, it's amazing to see some of the things that they pull out, because it may not be the same word. It may not say prayer, but it could, somebody be like, well, I was looking in the Strongs and the same number for prayer was supplication. And when I looked up that, and I'm like,
Mhm.
wow, guys. So that's kind of our biblical portion of the school that I took you through a whole week.
So, but I need you. We're going to slide
Backwards. Yep.
backwards to a Wednesday.
A Wednesday, yes. Our academic enrichment. Yes.
See,
Look at you. Good job.
I did. Thank you. I get a gold star. It's changed a little bit over the years
It
to
has.
be academic enrichment. So
we
what
adapted.
Explain academic enrichment, what that actually looks like.
All right. So to explain academic enrichment, I'll go to what it's not first. We do a 4-day week with in-class academics.
Mhm.
And throughout the years, we've done different days. I was reminded during our professional development that we actually did academic enrichment midweek at one point. You weren't even principal at that time. So we've kind of played with different days of what it is. And so what happens is our in-class academics are our core classes such as, math, English, science, social studies, foreign language, physical education.
Mhm.
Those things are all on our Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Fridays. And so I had to do it that way because last year it was just Monday through Thursday. And so when our academic enrichment is our electives then. So we
Okay.
do music, we do art, we do our life skills. And so what that looks like then is our art. We have a fantastic, if we're talking about social media, you've seen Jen Buccino on there. She volunteers her time for our art until I can steal her back to the academy.
Have to arm wrestle.
Wink,
you
wink,
for
wink.
that.
No, I won't steal. I'll just continue to borrow. So what happens then is she has an art degree from college, which
I
is
know.
exciting. And so what she does is she has
we
our
play nicely together.
we
share.
do. We play nicely together and
Yeah.
we share nicely. And so what happens then is she has a whole year's worth of curriculum that she does on those days. We integrate other people too, including some of our parents and grandparents that have different backgrounds in
Mhm.
art. And so they have a more holistic, with it being WHOL, viewpoint of that. Our music, we have phenomenal teachers and educators that have backgrounds in music too. Yesterday we were talking about how music plays a role in our lives in different ways. That was super fun. And then our life skills. So we actually get to spend time out at the farm learning the different things about what some people don't even know anymore unless you take 4-H or horticulture. And so it's down to animal husbandry. Yesterday we collected heirloom seeds that were going to seed so that we can save them for next school year when we plant them again. We were doing some of our beds in our greenhouse and harvesting stuff, things like that. We found a fire ant bed. That was fun.
Found a beautiful banana spider.
Yeah.
Found a black widow.
Yeah. Because we hadn't been out there all year, so that was fun. No worry, no children were harmed in the making of the things. We do have safety precautions. Someone found those things because he was looking for them.
It's my job. I'm the safety guy.
It is. And so the kids have a phenomenal time, and it's a whole day of those 3 things that we are able to do. That way we can, it's no fun to do 45 minutes worth of an art lesson when you can have 3 hours worth of one and really actually complete a project. And so kudos to those who can get it done in 45 minutes, but that's not us. And, same with our music time and same with our life skills time. So we, over the whole school year, they then earn those credits for that. And so we call it academic enrichment because it really is still their academics. We also, this is the fun part, within the enrichment category, we also get to take trips. And so our students fundraise and wink, wink. Our students fundraise for the different trips that we get to take. I was talking to someone yesterday about, we went to the botanical gardens last school year, and the Atlanta Botanical Gardens is beautiful. We went in May. That way we could get there after some of the things had started sprouting. And so they had done this huge thing with, I can't remember is it topiaries? It was living art. And so what it was is they had all of these sculptures made of like chicken wire and soil and all of these things. And then they had the plants stuck in it. And so it was full of colors and things like that. And it was all living. Look it up online. It's amazing looking. And so I was talking about this yesterday because it really intertwined all of the things that we do during our academic enrichment days. And one of our students who loves art, loves planting things, loves all of these things.
Do I know this student?
You do. All of our students. I
think this one lives with us.
Eye-opening experience. I was trying to be vague. Had this eye-opening experience where they realized that all the things that they love could be a job.
Oh.
And so it was one of those things. It was like you could take sculpting and art and the mind that I don't have an artistic view of the world often. That's just not my strong suit. I have a mathematical view of the world. I could tell you the different angles of things and I know when something is symmetrical and things like that, but that's not the artistic thing did not come from me. And so but that view of the world where they look at it in a different way and the amount of just, whoa, I could do this for a living was phenomenal. And so when we do these different trips that we do, yes, it's super fun for the students, but it also starts to encourage them to look outside of our proverbial box. I mean, Thomaston is little.
Yeah.
There's factories, there's food establishments, there's churches and ministries. There's not a lot of industry here, and there's not a lot of things that you can see the diversity of the different things. And that's what we try to do. And so
I do know a guy who's working on that, though.
I know, right? And we're trying to continue. But it kind of just gives a different viewpoint for our students to be able to really just see, okay, what was I was going somewhere. So our older students get to do overnight trips too. And that's a major, major deal of our fundraising because it's probably 40% of the academic enrichment budget is this overnight field trip that the older students get to take. And so that's our high school age kids. We got to do just a list of those things. And it's all standards based too. So they get credit for the things that they're getting to do.
It's not just fun. It's part of the education.
It is definitely wholeheartedly part of the educational aspect of that. In fact, students who don't get to go on the trips have to now do studying to get the things that they didn't get to get with that. So we went to Kennedy Space Center. We went to the Creation Museum and Noah's Ark. That was a top 10 fave of most of the students.
Slept in the museum.
We got to sleep in the Creation Museum
Y'all
overnight.
had a better spot to hang out in than us guys.
Us girls had a little more of a bougie spot than you guys did.
We were in a warehouse looking place thing.
It was cool. We got to sleep underneath like this dinosaur and there was like all of these fun things. Yeah. But we had run of the museum that night. So we got to do a scavenger hunt with the staff there and then got to stay the night. That was super top 10 of mine. Then we got to go to the Ark the next day and tour the Ark Museum too. So we've been to Jekyll Island and stayed at their Camp Jekyll and we did an virtual autopsy it wasn't for real autopsy on the fish, but it was really neat to kind of see how that went. And then they got to see the bioluminescent
Bioluminescent algae.
At night. So when you run your hands through it and it's
that would have been so cool.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. We went to Discovery Cove, got to swim with dolphins.
That was cool.
Did snorkeling when we were there. I know I'm forgetting one. Where else did we go? There was one more that I know we did that I can't think of. Someone is probably watching this going, it was here. It was here.
Where else did we go?
It'll come to me. It'll come to me later. I'll be like, oh yeah, this one. So that's portion of it too. So that's what our academic enrichment is. I actually was reading somewhere. I was really sad and reading somewhere. I read so much stuff when it comes to school and, different studies and things like that, that a vast portion of the students don't get to do field trips anymore. And it's really sad, that they're not getting that option to be able to go and see the different things that our kids get to do. And even though we're small, we're still pretty able to do a lot of the things. We have a fantastic bus that we charter. Love Mr. Holmes. So shout out to him too. That we can do some of these things with a bathroom on the bus and be able to take all of our students. This is the first year, because we're getting larger now, that we're having to split some of our field trips to be able to accommodate both our elementary students and our middle school and high school students. So yeah, that's in a bigger nutshell academic enrichment.
I know you have worked very diligently to keep the cost of tuitions down. I know over the last last 2 years, you were able to work with an accreditation group, a Christian accreditation group. So the school is fully accredited.
Yes.
Recognized in every major college as an accredited high school. You've had a huge, I say you, but you as the leader of the school.
It's the royal we.
It's
as
the royal
academy,
we.
Yes.
The academy has had a huge success in seeing students go off to college.
We have
graduate college.
We have a 90% of our graduates attend a 4-year university.
That is absolutely amazing. The accreditation, besides opening that up for colleges, what did that give you the opportunity to be able to do from being now accredited? And then my follow-up question, in case you weave both of these together, is you've also worked very hard to keep tuition down in the midst of accreditation.
Yes.
What has the accreditation plus keeping tuition down, how, besides just our own people and tuition, how do you help fund those things?
All right. So I'll go back to what accreditation has been able to do. When I alluded to earlier about God's timing, we were in a 2-year process, which is pretty normal, to be accredited with a different agency, and God just kept closing the doors. And me and my, I'm not even going to say diligence, that was drivenness totally, to try to, because I knew that God told us this was our next step. And the board of elders was all in agreement, and at that time, Pastor Donna was a senior pastor. And even back before Dad passed away, he knew we were all in agreement. This is where we're going. And so we were working behind the scenes for a while to make sure that our teachers were certified, that we had enough of what the world says we have to have beyond what God says. And one of the things that Dad used to always say is that God doesn't always call the qualified, but he always qualifies the called.
Amen.
And so I'm not saying that we don't have people that were qualified to begin with, but a lot of our teachers, and this is how the Holy Spirit works, a lot of our teachers had already had an impression on their heart to be able to start either going back to finish degrees that they had done, or some of them had degrees, but it wasn't in education, or, there was a different smattering of different things. Even I was like, okay, I need to go back, and I went for special ed, which now I'm thinking, man, Lord, you you knew all of this in the beginning. So that way we would have what we needed on paper to say what we were already doing was legit. In the meantime, we worked behind the scenes to make sure that everything was to the standard of what needs to happen for an accrediting, for it to happen. So we started with one company, and there's nothing against the company, but it just wasn't. God was probably revealing from the beginning. It wasn't a great fit. I was probably a little slower on the uptake, but we were still in the background finishing all of these things. And then the door didn't quite close, but it didn't quite open. And so what we ended up doing is we had all the groundwork finished, and we were in a crossroads. And so it was actually apparent, not apparent, but it was apparent that a parent of some of the students in the school was just kind of asking, hey, what's happening with this? Not in any way of sort of just, I'm just
Curiosity.
curious. Yeah. And I was able to just kind of vent my frustration, and they're like, I might know a person. And so through God ordained places, we were able to get in contact with the accrediting agency.
Because they weren't here when we started that journey.
They were not here. They were not. And they knew we were working towards it. In fact, they would actually also helped us in some of these areas to say, hey, this is what worked for us, in the past, because they were also in education before. And so, we were still plugging away. Well, God ordained that we were able to join up with this group. And when we did, the speed of which God moved. This was December of 21. Was it 21? 22. December of 22. That we got in contact with this agency. We were
September 22, you became principal.
Yes. And we were communicating with them in January. We had our first official interview in February with all the documentation that we had already had. They were like, you're just about ready for site visit, which was great because we've been working towards it. So from December to May, with a new agency, we had everything finished, and we were able to be accredited with them coming on site, going through all of their checks and balances, looking at all of our teachers. All of our teachers were certified by March because of all the work that they had done beforehand. So from December to May, we were able to get, I say we, it was totally God, was able to do all of that and get it squared away so that our graduates from that school year graduated with an accredited diploma. Since then, what a whirlwind that has been. Since then, now we had to be able to let the state know and national levels what that looked like. So, registering with college boards and making sure that we had all of that paperwork underway, scholarship opportunities, those kind of things were the second thing that we worked on all last school year. So by the end of last school year, we were able to qualify for some state scholarships to be able to help some of these parents be able to transition from public school or homeschool into private school, and it covers a very large portion of their tuition. And so that couldn't have been done without the accrediting process. And some of the questions, and I'll go ahead and answer the question before it happens, because I feel like some of you guys might be asking the question, well, does that mean that they have rule over what we teach? Because that was definitely a question. It was a question from the board. It was a question from our pastors. And here's the deal. Accreditation is elective. If doctrine starts to be an issue, which it is not, especially with the agency that we ended up with, they are like-minded. I gotta throw this out here too. They're like-minded and based out of Florida.
And we like each other.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yes, they're awesome people. But For My Life is now part of what our teachers can do for continuing education.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is just phenomenal. Like, that's unheard of, for a national, actually, they're international accrediting agency
they are.
that they're saying, they put their stamp of approval, said, yes, this is one of the things that can count as your continuing education for your teachers, which then can open the door for us to offer that to
the rest of their group.
Any of their
hint, because I know you're listening.
Yes.
We've talked about it before.
This is not a hint. We've already actually discussed all of this. But so that's phenomenal. So it just undergirds the whole part of back to our vision and mission, that it really is that. So
I want to add one thing in there when we're talking about vision and mission, because part of what's on the mission of Be in Health, Hope the Generations Church, and the Academy is the establishing of generations of overcomers.
Yes.
It's not just
we're
one
just
particular
at the baby
age,
level.
but the school starts off here.
Yeah. With our preschoolers.
With the preschoolers up through 12th grade.
Yes.
It then moves into our youth. It moves into our For My Life retreats, the church. It's all of that all of it combined. But helping us, it doesn't do us any good if all we're doing is helping one small group.
Yeah.
Having the availability to then be a resource for other organizations, other accredited schools, other ministries, other churches.
Anyone on the journey of accreditation.
Exactly. We could
opening schools,
assist and help.
Yes.
And I do agree. I think it was I know I was one of the contributing factors for slowing down accreditation at one season, because it just something didn't feel right.
We were going in the wrong direction.
We were going in the wrong direction.
Well, we were going in the right direction. We had just veered a little. Yeah.
And I know it was always our heart to see that. It was always Dad's heart to see that, to have not the accreditation, not that we needed the validation of what we were teaching and what we were doing.
The world needs
the
validation.
World needed that. We needed to be validated to say that it's and I'm going to twitch when I say it.
I'm going to just drink my water.
I'm even twitching even about to say it, because everyone would always look and say, so are you a real school? And every time it was like, and I still want to shiver a little bit, but it validated that Overcomers Academy is a legitimate, real school.
Yes.
That doesn't need the subtitles. It doesn't need the accolades. It doesn't need it. But the world needed to be able to we need to prove it for the world to be able to say, okay, now we need to send you some things. And it just does this amazing, it opened up amazing doors for what you're doing. And I say you, but you as the principal, the leader, but what the Academy is doing. I love the fact that it opened up for scholarships. I love the fact that it's opened up for grants. I love the fact that it's opened it up for tax rebates. It's opened it up for both personally for us to pledge taxes for our county. Instead of going to our local public school that none of our kids are in, it goes back into ours.
And you say that, but the public school budget doesn't change.
It doesn't.
And so, in fact, because someone says, well, won't it take money? All right, let's rewind. So what he's talking about is pledging to our school, because I know that's one of your questions. I'll just go ahead and jump into that.
That's where I was heading next.
Because when we became accredited, it then opened the door for us to be able to allocate some state funds to our school. So one of those is, it's called the Georgia... All I have is acronyms in my mind. You would be amazed how many acronyms I have.
Well, go ahead and throw the acronym. We'll get Murph to put his lower third underneath.
GASSO. So it's it really is about school choice. And what happens then is there's already funds allocated to the public school. This doesn't touch that. These are funds allocated towards private schools. And so what happens is when children leave the public school to come to our school or any other private school that they're of their choice, it actually releases more funds per child because there's less that's of a draw on the public school system. So it really helps both. It's not when we say that it allocates funds, it's not pooling. It's a different pool a different bucket. And so with with GASSO, I can't believe I can't remember. If they're watching, they're probably like, "Come on, Sarah, come on."
Georgia Student Scholarship Organization.
Thank you, Georgia Student Scholarship Organization. Murph is amazing. He's over there really quickly doing it. And so what happens is that is funded by pledges. And what happens then is people who pay taxes in Georgia can allocate their state taxes to the Georgia State Scholarship Organization.
Now we're talking
Student.
personal taxes or business.
Yes, both.
Okay.
So
So any business in Georgia could allocate or pledge some of their taxes.
and it's a tax credit.
Tax credit.
Yes. And so what happens is, and dollar for dollar, whatever comes to our school from people's taxes, whether it is your personal income tax or your business tax, not income tax, but your state taxes, dollar for dollar comes back. Now there's a new law too that it can go on the federal level.
I hadn't heard this one yet.
Because it
You and I haven't had a
literally
chance to
hit
talk about
my
this one.
email this week. And so there's a way to do that too. And so if anybody's interested in pledging those things and you're in the state of Georgia, a business owner, a LLC, any of those things, please.
So we can put her email.
You can
and
definitely
the school phone number up on the lower
Absolutely.
third, and they can contact you directly.
Their website is phenomenal too. It's Georgia SSO's website talks about all of these things. They
Sweet.
answer the questions really quickly too. It's a lot of it's already on the website that would just tell. I actually print out something and hand it to people to take to their accountants to say, is this legit? And their accountants are like, why have we never done this before?
Okay.
So that is what then comes to our school. So there's a certain amount. So as individuals, as a taxpayer in the state of Georgia, Scott and I pledge a certain amount of money from our taxes up to what they'll allow. And then what happens is then we pay that amount to the scholarship organization and they allocate it to our school. And then when we file our taxes, we get the credit back. 100%. And so it's not a deduction. It's literally, no matter what our deductions are, it still comes back to us from our taxes. And I know taxes, when we start talking taxes, people are like, I don't care. I don't want to hear about it. But at the same time, I love hearing money back 100%. So,
we all want a credit. We all want a donation. We all
exactly,
that's
and
where it is,
so
yeah.
that when you get your tax letters for your deductions from, giving to be in health or whatever, but then there's this option.
Okay.
And what that does is goes straight to our students.
That's awesome.
And so that, I'm going to say 90% of our students qualified for that this school year. We worked really hard to get that qualified on the state level, to be able to have our children be able to get some of that. But the caveat to that is only what is pledged can be given to our students. And so, this year we had probably 30,000 divided by 35 students. That's not a lot of money towards their tuition. So that portion comes from pledges and people who fulfill their pledges. So that's exciting. The people that we work with are Christian as well. I love talking to their organization. They're phenomenal as well. It's just amazing how God just put strategic people in places so that it was a pretty easy process. It's just, petitioning our folks to say, pledge, fulfill your pledge. So I'll say again, if you pay taxes in Georgia, talk to us, because you're probably missing a really phenomenal way of getting your money back. And it goes straight to our school. So it hurts nobody. It's money that you were already spending.
As Dad would say, money off the sidewalk.
It is money off the sidewalk. And then you know exactly where those taxes are going.
And what it's funding.
Exactly what it's funding, how it's funding.
Benefiting.
And it's just, that's great. The other thing is Georgia Promise started up this school year too.
Okay.
Our accreditation allocated or allowed us to allocate certain funds for that. And that's for low income families coming from the public school system.
Okay.
And so that one is... that comes from a big budget up above us, has nothing to do with those pledges. So we were able to have, that's the other, not even 10%, maybe 5% of our students qualified for that and were able to be able to allocate those funds. So that was nice because it really, really helped with tuition. The other scholarships are in-house. I had to fill out a questionnaire and it said, how many of your students get some kind of financial aid? And I was like 100%. Because, and here's where it is, if you go to our church, you get a scholarship. It's called the Hope Flock Scholarship, and that decreases tuition a little bit. The other couple scholarships we have are if somebody works at the church, so or the school. So our Hope of the Generations Church scholarship is a portion of tuition as well. Be in Health employees. And so listen up, people who like to help Be in Health. Our Be in Health employees get a little bit of a scholarship off as well. I mean, we don't make millions. We try to keep our budget low. We're all in ministry. And so and plus we encourage families to have families.
God said, multiply, not add.
He did. And so the world system says 2 children is enough. We're saying keep having those kids because we need to fill the world with godly people. And so with that, if you start thinking about tuition for 7 children in a school, that gets a little pricey. And so we try to help out those families as well. So our Be in Health employees get a little bit of a tuition as well because they're here pouring out every single day to make sure that our retreats run, to make sure that our websites stay up and running, to make sure that products are shipped out in a timely fashion, to make sure that guests are able to register, to make sure that there's somebody in the resource lounge to be able to give you the things that you need. So all of that, our media teams that keep product going and people, understanding what's happening, all of those people, their children attend our school, most of them. And so we have a scholarship option for that too. So any of those things are by donation. So, people who want to donate to those kind of things can donate to the school for those because we only have so much that comes in. But that keeps our tuition low for our parents. We also have, scholarships for multiple children. And so the more children you have in the school, the more of a percentage off of their tuition that they get. And then we also have financial need. We do have families that have financial need, especially if they're single income households, where the mother feels that she must stay at home with her children. And that's absolutely a ministry that needs to happen. There's a decrease in funds coming into the household if, the father is the only one working. And so we have those as well. So when people are asking, well, how much of your students have tuition decreases, 100% of them, because in some form or fashion, someone needs. And we try to keep the tuition low so that our families can afford to come. And without, the help of Be in Health and without the help of the church, we wouldn't be able to do that. So that's.
So while we're sitting here, before I ask you the last question I've got, before we kind of see where we go from there, if at any point you want to give a donation or a financial gift to the Academy, I know there's a spot on the website, on the Academy's website itself to be able to click. But if you're reaching out to Be in Health and say, listen, I want to give a gift to the Academy. This may be something out of nowhere. God just says, hey, I just want you to give this. Then you can reach out to Be in Health. We'll make sure it gets to you. You can go to your website, overcomersacademy.org. Net. You can also find it on the beandhealth.com website. There's a drop down. I think it's the drop down at the bottom that you can hit over there to the Academy. At any point you want to, it will help benefit them immensely.
I mean, we had one time somebody just heard about the kids' trip to, I think it was Kennedy Space Center.
They dropped one check to pay for all of it.
They did. They paid for 3/4 of it, which was then fundraising the kids didn't have to do, which is phenomenal. So that's an option too. It's just, we're all a family of Christ.
We are.
Yeah.
And so that brings me to last and final question. Ding, 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 ding. This is for your bonus points and everything else. What's the future plans for the OA?
Oh, man. What isn't the future plans for the OA? So
we started off with history.
We did.
We're birthed from
so
the
last year
with
was
Pastor
all
Henry
about
Donna
getting all
Wright
of the scholarships and things underway. The year before was getting accreditation finished. This year we actually are partnering with a Christian private school group that is for sports. So that's our next step. Well, we've got a couple things in the fire for this school year coming up. We're looking to see how our school can contribute to that. So between sports activities and literary and academic bowls and things like that, that kind of just opens the door now so we can start joining with other schools.
There's a theater drama thing in there too.
There is like one act. There's like fine arts. There's music components. There's spelling bees and history bowls and math bowls. I'm really excited about the math bowl. I know. But also there's sports teams. This opens the door for our school to be able to join other schools that may be a little larger that may have team sports that we don't have enough students for yet.
That's a great opportunity.
It is a great opportunity so that they're still with our school, still get all of the things that they want, but they're able to compete with other Christian schools. There's some things that we'll be doing probably this school year. Don't hold me to this because I'm still waiting on our sports directors to get me all of the components of it. But we're really, really aiming towards an archery team this year, cross country. It looks really promising that we'll have a girls volleyball team next school year. So there's a lot of the stuff that's in the works that our middle school and high schoolers will be able to do, but we're also going to start doing some of the elementary things. So that's the next component of some of the things that, while I don't mind our students going out in the community, the influence that some of these sports teams have on our kids as a parent, it was the next step to kind of go, okay, now let's do some things with our school's oversight of what we stand for and what we don't for competition.
Keep the principles that we teach, the biblical understanding, the spiritual requirements, the expectations of what we expect to stay there.
Competition is competition, but it can get ungodly quickly.
We know nothing about that. So
and so to have people that we know are safe with our students too is very important aspect to that, that we know our coaches and our teachers and they're fully vetted. And that kind of thing is important as a parent, is important as a school, is important as the principal. So that's one aspect of what we're going towards. Some of these things we already do. And so just giving our kids an outlet to be able to go into this. Like yesterday, we had a fantastic art lesson on pop art. I didn't even know what that even meant. What I think it was Andy Warhol did, these paintings that are worth millions of dollars of Campbell's soup cans. The arts are not, that portion of the arts is not my forte. However, I have an appreciation for it. And some of the things that our students produced yesterday, I was blown away. I'm like, all right, and we're going to keep these in a portfolio and these in a portfolio, so that when it comes time for some of these competitions, that our students have a portfolio to pull from. So that is super exciting.
Would love to maybe further down the school year get you back on. Maybe we can get closer to Christmas break or after the new year, after the first semester, and maybe we can queue up some of those on our screen.
That would be exciting.
And
yeah.
actually be able to help share what the school's doing, maybe an update mid-year
Mhm.
to be able to hit some of those things and show some of the art projects or even some of the gardening stuff at the farm, just to
Yes.
help. What's the word I'm looking for?
Update.
More than an update, but the
Showcase?
give me a second.
Sorry.
Sorry,
the other half was coming out.
I
Yeah,
know.
I'll pause.
So they could feel like they're a part of it as well, to be able to participate in
that community.
that community feel of it. Maybe we can arrange something like that,
Absolutely.
down the road, just to be able to keep people updated. Yes, but also those that do donate, those that do support Be in Health and the OA that have partnered with us can see some of the things that the students are doing as well.
Yes, absolutely.
And I know the end of the year is amazing to be able to see that connection as well.
This year is our second year, but it's our first full year that we have a photography club. And so some of our team members from Be in Health have donated some of their time too, which is, I just love the pool of people that we have. And so I already saw some of the pictures that they took just from their first day yesterday, and I am blown away.
Some of those pictures got shoved in my face.
They did. And so that'll be a nice way that some of our photography club
I can get
could
them the
help with.
picture of the Black Widow, because that turned out really cool. They can add that to the photography club picture.
Okay, I'm not certain that parents want to hear that. It was
all right.
Okay,
You're in
we
the woods.
dispatched said Black Widow. I know some of you.
That's gonna get somebody upset.
Some of you might get upset, but it was for the well-being
the greater
of
good.
children.
She did not have an exit.
Had she determined to build a nest somewhere else, we would have left her alone. But that she could not stay there.
Very aggressive.
Yeah, no, we were not going to keep that thing. Anyway, so the other portion of what we are planning to do is we've been working. I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud. We've been working on some curriculum that we eventually will be able to help other schools and other homeschooling and things like that from the academy. Our projection.
You really want to put that out there?
I'm gonna say projection, and we will update at the later time, is to have at least 2 Bible curriculums finished by the end of this school year, to be able to maybe have available for the next school year going forward. That is part of that.
That's highly impressive.
It's been in the works
very
already.
An impressive timeline, by the way.
Well, God knows. God knows. An update though from last school year, our Spanish class was able to finish some of these things. So we're gonna start getting that finished and worked on for the rest of this school year to have some product available too. So that's what we're.
Our Spanish class has been helping with our translation group.
Yeah, our high school group,
to be able to get more product, more resources translated. We're gonna have to have an Italian class and a French class and a German class after some conversations.
If you guys know some people, contact us.
info@beinhealth.com.
Please. Even for the school, if you want to donate some time to teach some of those classes. I really want to talk to our ASL team too, as far as having more foreign language opportunities than just Spanish.
Wow.
That's.
I'm going to say this, and I know we're both going to twitch. That's not bad for a real school.
It's impressive for a real school.
That's all impressive for any school.
Yeah.
Let alone what God's done here in such a short time of 10 and 11 years of what's produced. Because I know, you look at originally Pastor Henry and Pastor Donna, their heart and vision for the academy when they first called us in that meeting, in that February meeting or March, whenever that was, to be able to see now what it's produced, what you're sharing, the update that we all now get to hear and be a part of, because we're all partners in this. It's not just partnering with Be in Health, it's partnering with Hope of the Generations Church, Be in Health, Overcomers Academy, and all of that aspect, to see all of our hearts see generations of overcomers, whether or not they're 52 years old, or let's see, Dale is how old? 95. I know he's like
he's in his 80s.
He's in his 80s. He loves me. Or we're talking about our little preschoolers or our infants. There's that generations of overcomers. And you got any last minute things you want to say before we say goodbye?
Did we get through your whole list? I feel like
yeah, we
that
did.
was...
I got through all of it.
Wow.
We combined a lot of things.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
I told you I did a nice little outline.
I will say, not to plug money, but it does take money to run.
Yeah.
And any little bit helps. And so even when we were talking about the pledges last year, I did have people of our flock that came and said, hey, I don't know that I can afford this much, but I can give this much.
Any little bit,
and I'm
any
saying
bit helps.
Any bit helps. And to put it in perspective, $30 pays for a kid's ticket to the zoo and their transportation and their lunch. So, I mean, if you break it down to just little increments of money, $50 pays for our licenses for our economics curriculum. So, I mean, like these little things that somebody's like, I don't, the widow's mite is mighty. I would rather have 1,000 widow mites over one grand donation. Not that I'm saying don't give me one grand donation, but I'm just saying, if you're looking for ways to plug in and you're like, well, I'd like to see this, or I'd like to see this. And if it really just hits your heart, I mean, our family donates to our school outside of our tuition and outside of our tithes to our church, and because it's something that is dear to our heart. Where your heart, your treasure is.
Well, we're sowing. I mean, it's us. So we sow our ties to Hope of Generations Church. We still give an offering to the church. We do a monthly. We personally partner with Be in Health monthly.
Yes.
Because it's good soil. We personally volunteer time. I take a day off during the week.
Yeah.
That's my time off, and I spend it at the academy.
Volunteering your time, yeah.
On Wednesdays for your academic enrichment.
Yes,
I gotta make sure I say it right.
If it wasn't for our volunteers, then we wouldn't have the richness of what we can give to people, because we've got, like, to these students, we've had people that have come in and did lectures or done things that these people, I'd have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to bring them in as a guest, and they volunteer their time to be able to just give who they are and what they are to our students, and our students are better for it.
Because they've partnered and they've started to sow seed. They've started to sow into that good fertile ground.
Yes.
That good soil that's producing fruit, because we can rattle off kids' names. We can rattle off things
I remembered one other thing.
That we're seeing this fruit happen. And so we know it's good fruit. And Be in Health, Hope the Generations Overcome Academy wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the faithful giving of partners.
Yeah.
And that's the joy of what partnering does.
I forgot about our internship.
Oh, talk about that, and then we'll close out of here.
So what is amazing, what is amazing part of what our school can do as well is internship is considered a high school credit. So they can either get a half a credit for a semester's worth of work, or a whole year's worth gets them a full credit of internship. And what that does is we have had most of our upperclassmen are able, I allow them in 10th grade maybe, but definitely junior year and senior year, to be able to intern. And what that looks like is they then use school time to work in different areas. After a year of interning with us, like in-house, so I know what kind of caliber we're sending out to the workforce, then they're allowed to go outside of the workforce, which they have done. And so through the years, we've had students that interned in media, in marketing, in IT,
maintenance.
Definitely maintenance, in the school itself, guest services, connection lounge, like why do I keep calling it resource lounge, shipping, those different aspects to kind of see, Is this something that they like to do? And then also it trains them up in a workforce that's safe. And then we send them out into the community as well. So we've had different government offices that our students have interned in, different businesses in town, lots of businesses in town that they were able to then do either for pay or not for pay. It depends on what the employers do. But the turnover of that is that we've had our students be able to then work in Be in Health. And so we are literally establishing generations of overcomers. Some of them have gone off to college, come back. Some of them have not gone to college right away and are just working to see what's going on and then doing their college stuff later, or any of those kind of options. But when I think about the caliber of students we're sending into the workforces, or the ones that we don't even have to teach them Be in Health principles because they grew up in it.
Yep.
And they're the ones, 4 different students taught, or former students
in the youth.
Taught during the youth and during the children's and during even the adult For My Life programs, retreats this summer and past summers. That's what we can do too. And so it just doesn't stop there. You know what I mean? It continues to grow and to grow and to grow and to grow and to grow. So when we're growing our academy, we're growing our church, we're growing Be in Health, we're growing all of our things.
Good, strong communities.
Good, strong
leaders.
And as these students are getting older now and having their own families and all of these things, it's everything we wanted as that we didn't know could happen as children and as youth. If I had a high school like this, there's no bullying. And if there is, it does not last very long. Because to say our kids are perfect is not fair, but there's a family and camaraderie, a community that we're growing through our academy that touches other aspects of our community. And when people see our students coming, they're like, oh, if they're academy kids, yeah, 100%. You can work here. Yeah. You can intern here. You can be part of us.
Some of our kids are known at the city gates and known very well.
Our students are known at the city gates because they're good kids and they have a good foundation. And their academics, how they can compete as they get older in their colleges. Yeah. They're ready because while academics is secondary to the spiritual, they still go hand in hand.
They do.
Because we don't put more emphasis on academics or sports or any of those things, but we're the better for it because we integrate the spiritual aspects into every single thing that we do every single day. It is really funny story, and then I'll be done. When the Acts team was coming through for our Insight visit in May of, was that 23?
It was 23.
I was given a tour of the different classrooms, and there were different ones that they specifically wanted to see. Like they had looked at the schedule and lesson plans and said, I want to see this and I want to do this. And so we had walked into a classroom. I'll just throw it out. It was Miss Jordan's classroom. Brenda Jordan is phenomenal. She teaches in all of our classes too, in Be in Health as well. So we walked in there and she had a student at the desk who was having a little trouble. And I found out later that they were really having test anxiety because they had taken a pre-test. It was a spelling test and not done well. And they were afraid of failing this test. But what we walked into were lots of tears from the student, and like sobbing. And Miss Jordan was on her knees praying with her, but also coming against a spirit of fear. And she's like, we know that we can't have these things, and she was praying for the student on their level. It wasn't like what Dad would say, shaking molars out or anything. And she's like, so you're going to have to tell that spirit of fear it can't talk to you anymore, and that you are capable and you've studied, and the Holy Spirit will bring these things back to your remembrance. And so I'm listening and I'm thinking, well, Lord, I prayed when these people were coming that it would show who we are. And if we're not a good fit, let them leave. Yeah. Because I knew I wanted to be able, but I knew what God wanted to show needed to show. And so I was like, well, we're going to see where this goes, because we hadn't talked about spiritual warfare or spirits or prayer or any of these things, because I knew they were Christian, but you never know. And so we got to watch that, and I'm sitting here going, well, Father, you're going to have to show what you're going to show.
Yeah.
She finished with the student, wiped some tears away. Are you ready to take your test? Yes, ma'am. And off they went, a completely different child than we walked into. And it wasn't until that moment that she had looked up and saw, because I'm in and out of there. We do observations. And so I'm in and out of there all the time. So they just know just to ignore my presence and, those things. And so she looks up and was like, Mrs. Harper. Oh, hi, welcome to our class, And so, because she knew I was there, but had looked up just enough to see it was me and it was safe and all of those things. And so, but as the time went through, after we, and we watched the class, ensue and how things worked. And when we walked back out, there were tears in his eyes, because this is what we're supposed to be doing. This is how school is supposed to run. And he called it a symbiotic relationship between the church, the ministry, and the school.
Yep, I agree.
And that is what makes us special. And so we will never stray from that. Not as long as I'm in charge.
Not as long as I'm here.
Because that is the importance of who Overcomers Academy is.
That's right.
And so when I get new students that want to come in and they're like, well, do you have this? And do you have that? And I'm like, no, but we have this. And this is why you moved here. And it's okay, because God brings in who he brings in, and he sends out who he sends out. And every year I pray for the perfect students. And I don't mean perfect being
who God's called for this
I don't mean
moment.
perfect that they're sinless.
Yeah.
I mean, send us the families that we need to minister to and who need to minister to us.
That's right.
And send us the students, and send us the teachers, and send us the families and the parents and the grandparents and the aunts and uncles and all of these things, because who we are is unique. Because it's who God's called us to be, and our steps are ordained every single day. And I am so happy to work where I work, with the people I work with. And while I am the boss, we're all doing this together. And I just have to steer the ship, but the rudders and the engine and everything is all the people who make things happen. Our teachers, our parents, our volunteers, our people who partner with us and send funds in so that we can do some of the things that, and so, we don't stress. I don't stress over the budget, but I certainly pray for it. Because I'm like, Lord, I can't wait to see what you're going to do with this, because this is what you told us to do. And we're going in it with faith.
I feel you.
I know you feel me. And so we're going in it with faith, because our tuition can't be high, because that's what God gave me a number. And of course, then I prayerfully considered and submitted it to the board and said, this is the number that God is telling me, and it doesn't make sense. But God says it makes sense. And it's amazing how every single year it happens. And so if I'm feeling led to say I need more, then we need more, because then God's telling us, or am I looking at the wrong one? God's telling us to tell, if he's telling me to tell you, then that's what we're going to do. Because the mission, the fields are ripe with harvest. But the laborers are few.
Well, I want to pray.
Absolutely.
Father, thank you for this time of hanging out. I know we talk a lot at home, but to be able to talk like this, and that, Father, thank you for orchestrating this time in both of our schedules.
Right.
Father, I just lift up the Overcomers Academy.
Amen.
And I start from the top down.
Yes.
I pray for Pastor Sarah as the principal, as the coach of the entire team. I pray that you continue to give her wisdom and knowledge of how to direct her team, how to continue to mature and grow and strengthen the team that you have given her, that you have blessed her with. Father, I pray that as that team strengthens the students and encourages them and teaches them and grows them up and matures them, that you continue to give each of those teachers, volunteers, the staff, everyone who comes in and touches in that arena of how to impart what you've given their life to each of those students, that you continue to give them wisdom and knowledge, that the students that receive it with an open heart, receive it with joy, and they receive it with a purpose to follow through, a purpose to complete all that you've put on their heart to do. And we pray for each of those families that are associated with the OA, that you protect them, you keep them safe, you keep them inundated with both Be in Health and the OA principles. And Father, I thank you for every partner that is given towards Be in Health, Hope the Generations Church, Overcomers Academy, because it all does what it's supposed to do, no matter what venue it comes in from. I thank you for each partner that has prayed for, donated from day one of the Academy to where we are today.
And the people who pledged. Too.
And the people who pledged and that finances. And I pray for the Acts Association that you are accredited through, and for Steve Lindquist and his team.
Yes.
And if I shouldn't have routed off your name, oh well, you'll text me in a minute. I pray for him and his team, that as you send them out, and they are not just colleagues in what we're doing, but they're actually our friends now, that you bless them in all of their travels and where they're going, where they're coming back. Make sure their families are safe as well. And for each other one that has partnered with the OA in knowledge, wisdom, in service, the sports program, the giving program, all the different community relations, Father, it's interesting to see one little church in Thomaston, Georgia, can touch so many different people's lives by different aspects. And I just ask you to protect Hope of the Generations Church, continue to help it flourish, our flock, our people, our team, our families, as we serve in Be in Health. We serve in the Overcomers Academy. We serve in the Overcomers community. We serve in Acts, Associated Churches, teaching and serving with what we have, but in all aspects. And Father, I thank you that you've blessed us with one of the coolest places to be, and that we get to spend our time here. And I thank you for this time, and we ask us all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. I got to say, without interruptions of kids and phone calls and dogs and everything else, this might have been the last the most uninterrupted phone conversation we've had.
Praise God.
And I don't know how long.
None of our phones or radios went off. I was
mine's
like,
still
amazing.
sitting here, and it's like, hey, we made it through this. That's awesome.
That is a God
I realize
thing
how
right there.
long this has gone. So we'll
I think it was worth it.
I absolutely agree. It wasn't a negative thing, but we may break it into two little parts. But thank you so much. And definitely, we'll probably shoot for after January.
Yeah.
We'll get that first semester finished after breaks.
I'll have some updates
And
then.
we'll get some updates and get some pictures up on the screen. Got a great screen here. Let's use it. With that, thank you guys so much for joining. Check out the next Hope Now podcast, any of our podcasts here on Hope Now, and also the next Momentum podcast in the next week. And just keep up with us, which is really funny because I've got one of the writers of your curriculum, the writers of your Apology of Science curriculum,
I know,
coming in to do a podcast with us in September. And so Jeannie's going to be coming in and sitting down with us. I'm assuming you'll want to be here as well.
I don't know that it would be conducive for me to be in the podcast because then I'll just be like, so we'll see.
Well, we'll see what we can do. And just keep up with us. Check out our website. Follow all the links. If you're watching this on Spotify, follow that group, subscribe to it. If you're on YouTube, follow us, hit the notifications button so you can always find out what we're doing. And I'll see you soon, either here, out on the road somewhere, or we'll see you back next time on Momentum. See you soon. Bye, y'all.